to do to avoid the flames. Catherine?
Allison, Steve, I'm back at Clay Fire Territory's kitchen this morning, and we're starting fires and putting out fires this morning to show you just what to do if this happens to you on Thanksgiving Day, how to take care of these. But not everyone's as lucky to stand next to Fire Marshal Dave Sharon here this morning if this does happen. So watch carefully. We'll show you how to put this out this morning, clearly starting in the oven where a lot of turkeys are cooked, so the main meal. What do we do here?
So we shut the oven off, crack this just enough to just dump that box of baking soda in that we said to have handy, and leave the door closed. Don't peek inside to see how the fire's doing because you're not going to eat anything that's in there.
Right.
And just leave it go until it well cools down, which is probably going to be in a half hour, an hour. Again, some of the things that we had set out earlier, you may end up using. If you don't end up using this because you didn't have a fire in the oven, the top is already off of it, so stick it in the refrigerator so it helps deodorize your refrigerator.
So we just have a regular box of baking soda here, right? Good to have on the side in case that happens.
Right. And again, we didn't, the one thing that most people do wrong when they have a fire in the oven is you could clearly see it in the window. They open it up to take a look at it, and then they leave the door open, and the fire comes out, goes up into the cupboards. If you have something in there, turn the burner off, leave the door closed. Again, if you notice it's still not going down, that's why you have that phone. Don't waste a lot of time trying to put the fire out. Call 911 and make sure everybody else knows to leave.
What happens if it gets all smoky in the room? What do you do in that situation?
Well, if you're calling us to come, we're going to help clear the smoke out anyway. But otherwise, make sure you have exhaust fans on and clear it out. But the worry is to leave the door closed so that the fire doesn't leave the oven. It's the only appliance made for heat.
And so then we also have our fryer here this morning, and this is another major way people will be cooking their turkeys this Thanksgiving.
Right, and you know, they've made changes to these over the years. This is an older model, but the newer ones actually have a collar around them so that if the oil does spill over, it doesn't spill over and roll into the burners. It spills over into a catch basin. The electric burners now, so you reduce the open flame. So there are a lot of things that the people who manufacture those looked at and tried to do something to help reduce down the chance of people having fires from their deep fryers. The most important thing, of course, they keep stressing is not to drop a wet or a frozen turkey into that boiling grease, because then it'll boil over, hit that open flame, and take off. But make sure, of course, that you aren't manufacturing your own thing, something that hasn't been tested. And again, of course, we're not going to be using that in the kitchen, but using it well away from a building. And with that, just like with a grill, making sure the connections are tight, that there aren't any leaks. And once you're done with it, let it sit there and cool for hours. You have no need to move it.
And take us through maybe a microwave fire or back again with the pans. What are those major safety things that we want to know for cooking this Thanksgiving?
Well, we had said with the pans, make sure you have the lid that goes with them or a bigger pan. Same thing with the microwave. If you see something burning in the microwave, which goes back to making sure that the items you put in there, the plates, the bowls, say on the back that you can microwave them. Otherwise, you have a chance of them catching on fire. Again, leave the door closed, shut it off. Again, it's made to confine the heat. The minute you open it up, you've now given it as much oxygen as it needs to keep spreading.
And we don't want that, so
right.
Keep it closed. Okay, that's the biggest thing I think that we learned from both the oven and the microwave in this morning. And once again, if you want to go over all of these safety tips for cooking on Thanksgiving, they will be posted later this morning on our website at fox28.com. Steve, Allison, back to you.
Thanks, Catherine. All right, so have you checked out Fox